I assume they don't. So now we're recording. Now it's so
Did
now you have to
did
say
I hit
something.
the button? Okay, I
I
wasn't sure if I hit
think
the button.
we're okay.
I was like, I feel like I missed it. Okay,
You
no, it
just
says
about missed it.
recording.
Some of
Okay.
us just about missed it.
Life moves pretty fast. If you don't push the button,
Carry the
you
water.
miss it.
Remove the water.
Uh,
Sorry, I was going for Talking Heads references.
Everyone in my band hates me.
Hey, have you noticed that John Cusack's not in movies for like the past 10 years? I just heard someone mention on a podcast yesterday. And I was like, oh shit, yeah, that's true.
I didn't really notice it, but I don't know. Maybe he retired. Good for
Now,
him.
now, no, it seems like he does direct to video shit now. Although who knows what that means
Oh,
now, you know?
sometimes that means that they're like a weird right winger person.
It seems he's extremely left wing, but he went left wing to the point where he supported Palestine like wholeheartedly, which made people
Hmm.
call him anti-Semitic. But I'm like,
What?
the Palestinians need some support too. They're getting screwed, you know. I don't
I
know.
don't feel like I feel like you can support Palestine without getting in trouble. Like, oh, I found an article right here. Why Hollywood won't cast John Cusack anymore.
Okay, is
What
that
did
the
he do?
reason?
He called Hollywood a whorehouse.
Oh well, he's not wrong. Okay,
He said something about not putting on the tights for super. I guess for superhero. I guess he refuses superhero movies, and that will get you not movies. He's
yeah,
been writing films. He founded Freedom of the Press Foundation.
that sounds weird.
That sounds weird, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, it sounds well. It just sounds weird because of current, modern twists and
It
turns.
is.
In general, freedom of the press, of
Its
course, sounds
goal
good.
is
But
to keep privacy of journalists willing to deal with potentially. It's sort of some kind of pro WikiLeaks thing.
okay,
That's
I can live with
weird.
that.
He wrote a book about Edward Snowden.
Mm. So
I don't
okay,
know
I
if
guess he's just getting too on that and the other stuff is like just a lot of touchy subjects.
it's like he definitely uh, has some left wingness going on, but I don't know if that's why. This article is trash. The more I'm reading it, it's just absolute garbage. So I shouldn't be
Okay.
reading it.
Anyway, I was like, oh yeah, I haven't seen him for a long time, have I?
I mean, I don't feel like I watch a lot of the type of movies that he's usually in anyway.
I think I did around the year 2000.
Uh,
I mean,
yeah, I mean, I didn't see what was it? The movie where he was like had personalities, multiple personalities, or something.
oh, is he
Number
stuck in a room
something.
or something? Yeah,
Number 23.
I don't think I ever saw that one. And then there's a Jim Carrey one that's kind of similar. Identity.
Yeah,
What is it?
that's the one.
Cusack's is
It's
identity, and Jim Carrey's is whatever
number
number
23. I didn't
23.
watch either of those, even though they seem like I feel like I've kind of learned to spot things that look like they would be something I would be into, but then they turn out not to be, and I try to avoid them.
Well, that's the thing, with all the podcasting. It's like I've, it's like I have a set schedule of what I'm going to watch, which I made myself,
Mhm.
So I guess it's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Well, IMDb made it for you.
Yes,
It's
yes.
fine.
And then, Twilight Zone, of course. My I'll still extracurricular Star Trek, of course, but otherwise there's just plenty of stuff I'll get around to it eventually sort of stuff.
Are you
Um
familiar with the Poly Evolver?
I've heard the name before.
You should. I think they're too expensive now, but
Okay. I
that's
mean,
one
I
of the
couldn't.
best hybrid synths that has ever been made, and Dave Smith designed it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, here's one for only $3,990.
Yeah, I'm not getting that. Okay.
For parts or repair.
Yeah, that's no good.
Jesus
I mean, even a
Christ.
Juno 60 runs like a lot of money now. Like I couldn't afford one now,
Yeah.
but
We
like when I got it, it was like right before analog synths really came back. So I smelled that a little early enough to get some decent synths before. And now, of course, they're making new
yeah.
stuff that's good. So whatever. You don't need the old stuff anymore, do you?
No, you don't. There's a lot of really good new stuff, but um
I don't know if the Voyager counts as old stuff or new stuff anymore. It's kind of right in the middle. It's like the only big
well,
analog in that span of time.
interestingly, interestingly, it seems that Moog has sold their company to some other company just to avoid an employee unionization.
Oh,
So they might be effectively losing all of their talent.
oh,
So
okay.
that it may be that like the it may be that the last great Moog may have already come out that ever
Yeah.
will.
Well, I mean, the Voyager was the last one that Bob Moog actually was designed, right? So I
Was
think
it?
he
I
had.
thought he worked on something else after that.
I
It was
think
pretty
he.
close.
I think he had some input on the little fatty, but it
Mhm.
like it can't like they finished it after he died, that sort of thing. Like kind of like the Haunted Mansion in Walt Disney. Like Walt Disney had some
Mhm.
input, but he died before the thing happened,
Well,
so he couldn't approve. Maybe his Frozen had approved the Haunted Mansion. I don't know.
I think the sub 37 and the subsequent 37 are incredible, and I would definitely buy those if I had one of those if I had money. And the whatever matriarch and the grandmother could do.
Hey, you know what? I think I've just debunked the Walt Disney was frozen theory. His head was frozen because if that had happened, they would have put it in the Haunted Mansion, right?
No, that's too obvious.
Somewhere in the back of the graveyard. You really have to pay attention to see it.
I think it's. I mean, do you really? Can you be sure that it's not somewhere under the haunted mansion?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Also, wasn't that something like? Wasn't the haunted mansion sort of something that he wasn't into, and he kept kicking it down the line? Like, didn't that open
Well,
after he?
yeah, like 3 years after he died, 2 or 3 years. So, um,
Yeah, I think he didn't really like it. It sounded like he wanted it to not be near the castle because it would be too spooky.
so maybe Bob Moog didn't really like the little fatty. You don't know.
Maybe he didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe he
Anyway,
buried.
I guess we should do this Twilight Zone because then I take a shower and go to work. So
Okay.
let me bring up my notes. Oh, and
Yeah.
I should put my shit on the whiteboard before we get rolling because I did one yesterday and I had to do it in the middle of the podcast and I have to edit that one, which usually I
Oh
don't have to.
Jesus.
I mean, I guess I could.
I'm saying like that's a big deal. Oh Jesus, no.
No, yeah, just I have to
No.
remember to do it. It takes a few more minutes. Yeah, I think there's a shit in there I have to edit too. So 25 minutes. Yeah, I make good mental notes. So I remember Luke
Yeah.
said something like you look like beaten down when I accidentally slip with a curse word. It's like, no, I'm looking down at the clock so I can remember like where to,
Yeah.
go so I don't have to spend forever looking for it because yeah, I don't really want to listen to the whole thing till it's on air. Screen
I'm
sharing.
sure
Okay.
Luke loves the idea that he's just like taking years off your life every time he just says something
Yeah, yeah. Oh no,
inappropriate.
say a dirty word and look at my reaction.
Fuck.
Did I look downtrodden?
Yeah, you looked sad.
Okay, so that's what. But I was just glancing at my clock, so I know like where it is.
Yeah, that was the
So it's
proper context. It is pretty funny.
okay. That's what he's calling me out for anyway. Welcome to Time Enough Podcast. It's where we get into all of the episodes of the Twilight Zone and beyond all of the episodes of the Twilight Zone. Matt is here. Mark is over there. Hi, Mark.
Hi, I'm over there in
You a
hell.
hunter? In hell. Okay. I was going to ask if you're a hunter.
Well, even the hunter is the hunted.
Yeah. Today's episode is The Hunt. It's like, I still, we have old people again. We're back in we're back in
Damned
the
old people.
we're back in the hillbillies. So it's like I think I'm gonna have to restrain myself not to start doing the Witchman voice from Still Valley again. My Witchman voice. Well, kind of his too. Yeah, just the doing the Southern Madman, which doesn't really fit today. But hold on, I need to look at the actual episode order here. Okay,
Rod Serling does love bringing old people representation to the party, and I do appreciate that.
I was gonna start complaining about it, but we're kind of at the beginning of the run. As we
Well,
I
this is
record
the
these,
thing. Is it sort of like, you know, how they say animals can see ghosts.
right?
Technically, older people, since they're closer to death, are probably closer to the astral plane than
Maybe
we
I'm
are
just
in the
looking at the
middle of
list here.
life.
I'm just looking at a list here, and I've already recorded "Kick the Can," which comes out in 2 weeks. You know, a notorious
I mean,
old fart episode.
mm.
What else
I
do we
mean,
have? Nothing in the Dark. Once Upon a Time is old Buster Keaton. Well, of course, I'll take that. But yeah, and Still Valley had the Witch Man, although he was awesome. And it's funny, it's like they want old people so much now that they put on age makeup because both of the leads in this are not that old.
I could tell it was makeup.
Yeah, it was pretty clear in this one. I'm trying to talk about the episode maybe too soon, so I will go ahead and do a spot of the trivia and get a few of those things out. Original air date was January 26, 1962. Teleplay is by Earl Hamner Jr. This episode was directed by Harold D. Schuster. While he did television in the twilight of his career, he spent 3 decades as a film director. His first film was Wings of the Morning, the first 3-strip Technicolor feature shot in Europe. Other credits include 1954's Loophole and 1957's Dragoon Wells Massacre. Massacre. Their Witchman's coming through again. Okay. Author Honeycutt played Hyder Simpson, not Homer Simpson. He was somewhat typecast, playing backcountry old men, a task he had been doing since age 30. He appeared in films such as The Red Badge of Courage, The Last Command, and Cap Ballou. He received an Academy Award nomination for his supporting role in The Big Sky. Rachel Simpson was Jeanette Nolan. She had a long career on television that earned her 4 Emmy nominations. Regular credits include The Virginians, Perry Mason, and Dirty Sally. I don't know what that is, but it's a good title. She also appeared as Lady Macbeth in Orson Welles' film of that Scottish play, and she provided her voice in Disney's The Rescuers and The Fox and the Hound. She will return to the zone in next season's Jezebel and will even pop up again in Night Gallery. The gatekeeper is played by Robert Falk. His main claim to fame was playing Sheriff H. Miller on the TV show Lassie. This one features music composed by Robert Drasnin. Drasnin did a lot of scoring work for television with notable credits including The Twilight Zone, Mission Impossible, Wild Wild West, Hawaii Five-0, Time Tunnel, Lost in Space, Mannix, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea. That's quite a list. He was listed as actually being the musical director for The Twilight Zone, but it wasn't like clear if they meant like this one or like the 80s one. So as a clarinetist, he had a side hustle recording exotica albums, with the most notable being his series of voodoo LPs. The first one includes the piano playing skills of a young John Williams. Oh, you're drinking right when it's time to do your prologue. Okay, you've got it, and you took your sip, so here we go.
Oh, my bad. An old man and a hound dog named Rip off for an evening's pleasure in quest of raccoon. Usually these evenings end with the one tired old man, one battle-scarred hound dog, and one or more extremely dead raccoons, but as you may suspect, that may not be the case tonight. These hunters won't be coming back from the hill. They're headed for the backwoods of the Twilight Zone.
Okay. Spooling up? You're spooling.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
I made the decision to read it like that before I saw the episode.
Okay, so nothing there. I am glad that Rod is not mirroring his characters and does say raccoon in this case. Because
true.
Yeah. Which I did find interesting in 1962 because I wonder, did he know to do that, or was he just trying to sound like not redneck or what?
I think he's like, nah, I can't possibly do that accent.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess he wasn't. He was always nervous doing these things anyway, so I guess he wasn't gonna like.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine him doing an accent ever?
Oh,
can you imagine him doing any accent ever? I cannot.
No, he was too nervous for that. I'm just saying, like, he could have.
He's just not that guy.
Yeah, he's not that guy.
I mean, I could. I could have done an accent. I didn't though.
I'm not saying he couldn't have. He could have used his normal voice and just used the same shorthand. Is what I'm saying. Like Eric Cartman or something.
I think that's just part of the accent.
Yeah. Maybe. Okay.
Anyway, so only in heaven can you kill raccoons. in hell there is no raccoon killing.
Hmm.
Is that that's my takeaway from this? Actually, no, I felt really weird about the end of this.
Would you be killing like phantom astral raccoons in heaven? I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure they would breed raccoons for you to kill in heaven.
but it might be kind of like some kind of, like
Or
astral hologram.
he didn't end up in heaven at the end. He actually was in hell
Okay.
in the end.
Why would you go with that? Just out of
I
curiosity.
don't know. Why you believe one guy over another? Seems like somebody who says the first guy, it's like a riddle. The second guy who says the first guy is lying, maybe he's the liar.
Yeah. What we can go back to like you can tell how people are in Star Wars with how they treat droids. So in here
Mm-hmm.
it's dogs, but not
I
raccoons.
I do actually I do kind of buy into the thing that if dogs don't like you, you're probably a bad person. But which fits immediately with this. But it was a little everything was a little fishy and a little hand wavy. Also, he was like, well, don't worry, your wife will make it here. Also, she'll be dead soon.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. He's like, "Oh, okay, that's cool."
Yeah, he's so willing to believe everything the second guy says because he'll let his dog in there so he can kill raccoons.
It's like
That's really what he says. He's like, I'm not going to come in here if there's no raccoon hunt.
I don't know if you're already dead. Do you care if other people die, especially if they're already old?
He only wants raccoons to die.
Yeah.
He doesn't
Okay.
care. I don't think he even cares.
It is interesting. I guess this episode has a bit of a double twist, but it's pretty clear he's dead. They don't hide it that hard, and once he's told, he's just like, "Oh, really? Okay, that makes sense."
Well, he's given that information a lot before he actually figures it out.
But
But
he's cool with it
that's
when he
fine.
figures out. I mean, maybe that's like the mental process, right? Like,
Mhm.
because I did, it's not like a sixth sense thing, like a what a twist, right? He I mean, figures.
Well,
I don't know if people like started to like suggest you were dead. I mean, maybe it would take you a few suggestions before it really like set in,
I think they were just going to do a surprise party for me.
right? But then it turns out you're dead instead. So,
That's a twist.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
I thought this whole thing was going to be like he didn't know he was dead, and then he accepted he was dead, and he died.
right.
I was thankful for a little bit of things to try and wrap my head around, even if it made me suspicious of literally everyone.
Yeah, yeah. You can't trust anyone in the afterlife. I don't know. But yeah, some people say you should go towards the light. Some people say you shouldn't go towards the light. There's the archons dragging you back onto the earth plane.
Go towards the square dance.
You should probably just, if you find you're dead and you know it, if you're dead and you know it, stay in one place. If you're dead and you know it, stay in one place. Just stay in one place for a while. Why even go
Yeah.
anywhere?
Who
Yeah.
knows? The second guy says, "Oh, they're never giving up." What's is to say the second guy isn't taking him to hell? You might have to go through 15, 20, 30, 100 guys trying to take you to hell, telling you it's heaven.
Maybe this
I
guy's
actually
damned to hell
believe
for
I
killing
believe
so
that
many
he went to hell.
raccoons. He's damned
Yeah,
to hell for killing so many
he'll
raccoons.
he'll just get to like the fifth or sixth guy, and it'll just be 100 raccoons in a trench coat.
I did. I don't know. I guess I'm going to be slightly more damning on this episode critically, not because it's necessarily bad, but because I've already like halfway forgotten it, and by next week I will have completely forgotten about this episode. I'm pretty sure.
I I actually do feel like this episode, the fact that I'm having to just ass pull a bunch of things about it to make it interesting means it's not a great episode.
Yeah. Um. This is like Earl Hamner writes several episodes of the Twilight Zone. He's not as prolific as some of the other regular writers,
Mhm.
but I don't think I'm a big fan of his. I mean, I think he also later writes the Black Leather Jackets, which is notorious for uh, really not being good. Um, he later, I mean, the guy did have success. He was the creator of the Waltons later on, and that did pretty well. I guess he likes backwoods stuff, you know.
I mean, that stuff can be interesting. It's just sort of, we've seen a dead person who doesn't know they're dead pretty recently.
Yeah, and this guy is old enough that he's, well, yeah, he's dead. Okay, because he's what?
70? Yeah, you're damn lucky to make it to 70.
He's
And
in what, the backwoods of Kentucky or something. I mean, that's above life expectancy, and that in this time and place, he's
we're
actually he's a winner.
hmm
But I did like at the beginning where they have like the very theatrical redneck talk. Like it's not like real redneck talk. It's like, well, Ma, we've been doing this for quite some time, haven't we? Like that, right?
yeah. Yeah, old man. We've been yeah, that always does kind of bother me when people when you're introduced to characters and they talk about how long they've been they exposition about their people who've been married for 50 years don't ever sit at a table and say, "What? We've been married for 50 years, haven't we?" Nobody does that. That's not.
Well, if they're going a little senile, they might. I don't know. He's just checking to make sure he's right.
Maybe you say it once in a while. I guess it's you're looking in on that one time they say it, which is ironically right
What if
before he dies.
what if this is their actual anniversary? Of course, then he shouldn't be running off and coon hunting. Now I've said it. Bloody hell.
Raccoon. Just put a rat in
Yeah,
there.
added
Rat.
in the rat. Okay.
Rat.
Um, well, that's what he says. I'm repeating what he said. Okay.
I don't
But
think.
yeah, he shouldn't. Maybe he shouldn't be doing that on an anniversary. But yeah, like what you said with the accents, though. I mean, you and I have experienced some proper redneck gibberish.
I've
Um,
experienced people I can't understand.
yeah, I mean, I think I've even brought the story up before, but you and I were at the Tennessee rest area where the two guys were working on the vending machine. And I remember us
Mm.
standing there and listening for like several seconds and not being able to like make heads or tails of it.
Yeah,
It's like,
that's.
but they were like communicating with each other. It's like that. It's like that Star Trek episode with the Binars where they're, and they're
Yeah,
working on equipment.
if only rednecks did that.
They speak in binary.
Yeah,
Well, then they'd be more like minions, I guess. Do minions
yeah.
speak in
Maybe
binary?
someday. Maybe
Hmm.
someday people will just. I mean, I would think speaking of binary would be like you make modem sounds, right? Just go like, right?
That that would be more like annoying.
It would be annoying, wouldn't it?
um, yeah, I was talking. We were talking on makeup, and yeah, on Blu-ray especially, it's like from the first scene, it's like I see applications, which of course, again, you wouldn't have seen on 1962 television. But yeah, I did in the middle of episodes. Like I bet this guy's like 48, and then I went and looked. I paused the episode and went and looked, and he was like 53 or something when they did this episode. So
Yeah,
52, something
and
like that.
I'm not usually the person to actually notice that stuff, but I did after a little while.
I mean, we just
Um,
watched Citizen Kane recently for another podcast, and there we were like, "Oh my god, that's good age makeup," So it's not like you couldn't do it. That's on a
yeah,
movie budget too. That helps, but
yeah. When I was a kid and saw Citizen Kane in the modern era, I had no idea how old Orson Welles actually was.
yeah,
He was a shapeshifter.
there was one kind of I don't know if it's supposed to be a red herring or not. So the dog's name is Rip. So
Hmm.
just for a moment, I was wondering if he was going to wake up like 50 years later with his dog.
I also thought that he did wake up next to a tree. And it's like, oh,
I mean, that would have been fine. I was actually kind of disappointed that's not where the episode went,
Rip
and
Van
that
Winkle caper. I
yeah.
actually watched this on Pluto TV, and right under the screen where the video was, it said he was dead.
Oh, so it spoiled it for
It
you.
said he woke up dead, and no one saw him. Yeah,
I,
it kind of
I
did.
I hate it when you wake up dead. Uh,
Well, he woke up dead, and then he almost went to hell, maybe.
well, you say
So
did go to hell.
I think he went to hell,
Okay, they sent
but
him to hell, dragged
but
him to hell.
you have to trust Rod Serling on this, so he probably didn't. But I mean, Rod Serling wouldn't lie to you, but Satan would lie to Rod Serling.
Well, the one quote I actually pulled out from this in my notes at least was, "A man will walk into hell with both eyes open." That could be another warning.
Hmm.
Hey, maybe Rod
Yep.
Serling doesn't even see it. So
Yeah.
we
You know
can
what?
go with
You
your pessimism.
never trust somebody who says don't trust anybody. right before they tell you to trust them. That is just. I know a lot of people need to hear this, and
Maybe
probably until the end of time, people need to hear this. Do not trust people who say you can't trust anybody but trust me. That is like painting a red flag over their face.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I can get that. Um, I don't know. You create your own heaven or hell. I like that idea. You know, if you
I
belong
don't
in hell.
I don't really believe. I believe you probably enter some kind of state of plant like existence
Mm,
or something.
the Secret Life of Plants.
Probably, yeah. You just
Okay, it
enter that Stevie Wonder record.
was a book first. I was thinking
Okay,
of
you
the book.
enter the book.
Yeah,
Okay,
you can enter
you
the
enter
album too if you
you
want, but
enter Plantasia.
the soundtrack would be the album, of course. So
Mhm.
that is your view of the afterlife. We all go to Plantation and listen to Stevie Wonder for
Yeah.
eternity.
What's that guy's name? Mort Gold Mort Garson?
Oh, I wasn't ready to throw the title at. Wait, you're talking about another musician there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a synth guy, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
Mort something.
I don't remember what he did though. Maybe he did that
Mort
Oz
Garson.
album. I know he did something highly amusing, but I don't remember what it was.
I
They sing
thought
you
that
about
was
his
the
album.
amusing thing he did. Did he do something more amusing than that?
Yeah, I think he did like concept albums in the '60s that were like, oh,
Oh man. Wow, the picture on his Wikipedia page is incredible.
oh,
It's
okay.
just a very nerdy man leaning over a modular thing with a million cables coming out of it. Some of the cables draped over the keyboard itself.
Maybe that's the guy they brought in for the Zodiac
Oh,
album.
he
That
did the Zodiac. Okay. Yeah.
okay, there we go. That's
That
yes.
is more amusing than Plantasia. Okay.
Anyone listening right now and you don't know what we're talking about,
I hope they're mad.
you need to
I hope you're mad.
experience the Zodiac, 1968, I think, 7 or 8. One of the first
Uh-huh.
commercial uses of a Moog.
1967.
Okay, yeah, that and that dude that does the narrations. Oh yeah, that's a great
Yeah.
album. Okay,
Classic. Didn't you have a vinyl of that?
and
No.
I had the Bruce Hack albums on vinyl.
I have
The
one of those.
Electric Lucifer.
Yeah.
That's what I had.
I
I
don't
still have it.
I don't have
Um,
Electric Lucifer, but I have one of his records in vinyl.
but
There was this weird thing when the Tower Records closed. They brought all this inventory out that basically a bunch of stuff that was so rare that it shouldn't have existed.
but Hyder Simpson would not like to listen to that music. He's all in on the guitar music, which I
Yep.
don't know. I That's cool. I mean, you can entertain yourself with guitar as long as you need to, right?
Do you think that basically the guy who was the fake St. Peter kind of talked like he was from New York?
Yeah. Well, he was the sheriff from Lassie. No. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The other guy, by the way, I didn't include him in the trivia just because on Wiki he had the red name with no page. So I was like, I guess
Ooh,
he didn't do a whole lot. But
shame.
because I mean they both are kind of notable. And I skipped some, like the Reverend and the people digging the dog grave because I don't know, they just didn't stick with me. Like I said, a lot of this
You don't
episode
have to
kind of didn't
apologize for
stick
not
with me.
summarizing every single person's career. I don't think that any of us do that for any of these
No,
podcasts.
no, I don't. But it's just like, I'm looking at like a list of who's in this episode, and I'm like, this is. I was just talking. We just did. I just recorded one more pallbearer where I'm like, oh, I love this. There's 4 actors. You cover the 4 actors, you're finished, easy. Whereas this one's like, you got to pick and choose a little more. So that's just the inner baseball of a trivia man, I guess. So,
Yeah,
um,
I'm gonna say right now, don't ever expect me to do trivia on every single person in an episode for anything unless it's like 2 people.
yeah, if it's 2 to 4 people, I'll do everyone. That's fine. But I'll do
And I
everyone.
do not I do not apologize for choosing not to do everyone if there's too
So
many people to do all of them. Anyway, but what I was going to say is that it's pretty weird that the St. Peter who was trying to trick him was sort of a fast talking city guy. And wouldn't you think that they would send somebody to trick him who was sort of trustworthy? The second guy sounded like a country guy who was humble and liked walking instead of using his wings. And he was like, no, the square dance is right over here. Definitely the second guy was Satan. He was
oh,
actually the Christian Satan.
he was
The
the
more I
act.
think about it.
he was the actual Christian state because he makes you
Yeah,
feel good and he's slick.
I'm
So
ratcheting up my rhetoric on this. He is the actual Christian Satan.
yeah,
The first guy was sending him to heaven, but he couldn't send dogs because no dogs go to heaven.
well, yeah, all dogs go to heaven. Remember?
But it's either all of them or none of them. But
Yeah.
so what would have happened if he went to hell with his dog? Does Rip die then?
Well, he's already
Oh, I
dead.
guess he said he would take him down the street for him or whatever, right?
Yeah,
So
like
maybe
they have
where
a
he was
separate.
taking him,
They have a
he's
separate.
taking him to dog hell.
Yeah. So I'm looking up the dude I actually want to be playing the first guy. The first guy.
I If you can't tell, I just hate the idea of the Christian afterlife, and I always want to constantly poke holes in it because it's always so like dumb and boring.
Oh,
This is
how
so
about
interesting.
instead of the city talking guy, you get Fred Gwynn, who played
Okay.
Herman Munster, my cousin Vinny.
Oh, he's doing that guy. Okay, yeah, that would
Yeah,
work.
put him in as a. Well, come on. No, I'm sorry, your dog can't come with you. He's going to go to a place up the street. I mean, that might have been like a little. Would that have worked better for you?
That would have made more sense. I'm
Okay.
just thinking, like, why am I supposed to think that hell sent this guy to trick the good old boy who just wants to go and kill raccoons?
I think that's a good rule of thumb. If you find yourself in kind of a limbo after you die, like this guy does, I mean, and
Hmm.
he's got one with nice scenery and stuff, right? So
That
just hang,
also
spend some time figuring out the limbo, right? Because you don't want to just jump on the first thing you see or the second thing you see, you know?
So basically, if somebody from the city died, they'd be like, "Hey, yeah, go Mets. I don't have a dog. I'll go right into this fence, like you say, buddy."
I'll walk right
And
to hell with both eyes open. Well, they'd have something else
so maybe
they
hell is
like.
just full of New Yorkers. Is that what they're trying to say?
Well, some people might call New York a certain version of hell. I wouldn't. I like New York, but
Interesting. New York 1960 probably was a type of hell. Yeah.
I bet
61. Sorry.
no, you go play in the folk clubs in the East Village and become, Phil Oakes or something.
I feel
I
like
could
Phil
have
Oakes would have expected that he would have himself thought he was going to hell.
yeah, okay. The good point. Yeah. I just didn't want to be obvious and say Bob Dylan, that's all. So I went for Phil Oakes, who
Yeah,
had
you
a
got
tragic ending to his
yeah.
life. Sorry, I'm
You
laughing
got
about him as tragic ending, but yeah.
he'd laugh about it.
Probably, yeah, but yeah, he did consider New York a certain version of hell. So
You got
Dylan might have liked it
Nico
better. I don't know what Dylan thought of New York, thinks of New York.
Nico doing heroin in the back of hell.
Dylan would be happier in the setting of
I
this
know.
episode, because I know Dylan's been like stopped by the police for vagrancy on like Civil War sites and stuff. They
Mhm.
think it's a homeless man, but that's just how he dresses. Like, oh crap, you're Bob Dylan. So
Yeah, so Bob Dylan definitely would have gotten tricked. So anybody who didn't die with the dog. That's the thing. The dog has to die with you. If you die
yeah.
without your dog,
Well,
you're
they
going to hell.
they probably die in different parts of the pond when you think about it. So
Hmm.
I don't
You
know.
think that your dog is killed and sent to you?
I mean, maybe for me, I would want to. I do want that guitar music. Maybe I'd have my guitar, and they'd be like, "You can't take the guitar." And I'm like, "Well, screw that. I'm just gonna hang out here and play it." You know?
I wouldn't trust anybody who's like the square dance is this way because square dance was basically just a ploy for the American government to suppress jazz.
Really? Okay. Because I had to go to square dancing in the late '90s at those
Hmm.
stupid redneck clubs because the
Yeah.
cute girls at
Oh,
my high
redneck
school wanted to
clubs?
take us there several
That's
times.
weird. I
You'd
It
ride.
was just something that was forced on us in elementary school, and
Yeah, I
we
remember that. No, no,
basically.
no. The girls in my high school, they'd be like, okay, we'll spend time with you this weekend, but we're going to the frickin' Roswell Redneck Club to square dance, which not my cup of tea.
That's odd. I mean, I do know more conservative people who went to
They had
your
a
high
live
school than.
band. They had a live
Huh.
band. I guess they had a mechanical bull. That's cool.
I'd say like most of the people I know who have unfriended me for posting leftist stuff are people who went to your high school.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
It's only like two or three, but a
Yeah, yeah,
couple of
yeah.
them.
But let's see. Square dancing does not go in heaven. I don't want to. I mean, one of the reasons I
No,
started playing the guitar is so it's like you want to dance now. I'm busy playing the guitar, man, or
I
lady, or whatever.
want, yeah, I want to have a conversation with Satan, and that is why I play guitar. Why would I, I did not pick up a guitar so I could, you know, become closer to heaven. That's not, I'm sure some
I
people
picked up a
do.
guitar for satanic reasons.
Some people, and most people who say that they picked up a guitar to get closer to Jesus are just picking up a guitar so they can attract someone that they can marry immediately because that's the only way they're gonna have sex.
Oh, okay. I haven't been to the
In
States
their
for a
in
while.
their religion. I skipped a few steps, but
Yeah.
mega church stuff.
Not like Japan where everyone just stopped having sex and now the government's like, please start doing it.
I can't really complain. I stopped having sex too. Way to go, Japan.
um, do you want to throw out any other big zingers on this episode?
I think I may have screamed all the things that I need to scream about. I like raccoons. Actually, raccoons should all go to heaven. I want to go to heaven that's just a sea of raccoons.
I was like, oh, it's too bad they're not taking on lesser pandas. This episode would be fun if he's running out into
Ah.
the woods and chasing lesser pandas.
um, I love dogs. Don't get me wrong, but I also love raccoons, and I want to go to a heaven where dogs and raccoons are friends and they hang out together.
Okay, I see more lesser pandas because I work. There's a zoo like 2 miles from one of the places I work that has a bunch of lesser pandas. You go in, they're running around over your head. It's great. They could fall on you.
That sounds awesome.
It is awesome.
I don't think I know I've seen some here in the zoo, but they're not just kind of running all over the
Yeah,
place.
they have little wooden bridges like over where you walk, and then the lesser
Mm.
pandas are running over the wooden bridges. So if their balance wasn't good, they will fall on your head. I haven't heard of
Well,
that happening. I guess they have good balance, but yeah. Raccoons, I don't know. And also I don't know, a raccoon falling on your head seems worse somehow.
raccoons are very smart and very like I have stories of people making friends with raccoons. My um one of my friend Catherine said something like her dad would work on cars in his garage and a raccoon just started showing up and drinking with him. Like the raccoon would just show up and he'd give the raccoon whiskey.
Oh,
That
okay.
just would go on. See, that's what actual rednecks do. They're not obsessed with killing the raccoons. They give them whiskey and hang out with
that
them in their
that would have
garage.
been a better version of this episode where he's not going to hunt them, but yeah, he's going to go drinking with him and the raccoon and its dog are all drinking moonshine
Yeah,
by
I mean,
his
that'd be great.
moonshines, his secret moonshine still. That would have been cool. So
I think it's just a thing where back then it was not animal rights wasn't even a thing at all.
hey, when do
Like
you think this episode actually took place? Because what is it? When's the last time you've been kissed? 1924. Which does that mean like this is 1924 because they're a married couple, or has it been like a really long time? And it's just early
1920.
60s because you can't tell because it's like if you see 70s documentaries about like the Blue Hills of Kentucky and it's not it looks like 100 years earlier. So
It really could be any time. I feel like it probably was contemporary because of the guy talking like a city slicker guy.
I'm sure people in like 1924 also spoke like city slickers.
I have no idea. I didn't feel like it was trying to make a judgment on what the time period was, or
Yeah,
I
it
didn't
doesn't
feel like it.
matter. Yeah, it doesn't
I didn't
matter.
feel like it. Yeah, I didn't feel like it mattered.
I just thought about it when I was watching it. Like after she said that, I started thinking, well, what year is this? So contemporary probably right, and she's just like alluding to a past time or something. No,
What if
that
the
makes sense.
plot twist is this is actually the year 4500?
Oh, and they're like 3,000 years old, not 70.
It's the community from the invaders.
Like the Planet of the Apes is like just like over the ridge because he says he's never gone traveled that far in his life, right? So
Yeah.
there's apes just over the ridge.
Yeah, I hope so. It's like as
Except
soon as he gets into heaven, there's just apes just tear him to pieces.
so what was your year? 4044 was it?
I said 4,500.
Okay, well, Charlton Heston already destroyed the Earth by that point, so that doesn't work.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. Well,
is
what
it?
if it's Mars?
Okay, it's on Mars, which also has
Mm.
apes. Okay, good.
Yeah.
We've worked it out. In this episode, who goes through the Twilight Zone?
Oh, it's Hyder Simpson.
Yeah, he just
That's
dies though.
cut
That
and
gets
dried.
back to his cut and dried death, the Twilight Zone. I mean,
That's
maybe.
part of why this isn't a great episode, is because the weirdest thing that happens to him is he almost does a whoopsie and walks into hell, like almost everyone does, apparently.
But when you say it that way, it sounds good.
What's the thing is that if you take everything in this episode at face value, then this is just everybody does this stuff. It happens to everybody. So
although you
really
could,
nothing weird even happened.
although you could just say that literally is the Twilight Zone because it is the space between life and wherever he's going to end up when you're
Mhm.
dead. This is the early '60s, so I guess we hadn't really gotten into the whole like Americans can think about reincarnation thing yet. That never really
That's
makes its way
true.
into the Twilight Zone, does it?
You tell me. I haven't really seen a whole lot of season 4 at all.
I haven't either. They never show that one on TV, do they?
Well, I guess we'll find out. We'll
Yeah,
take
we'll
that
find out.
journey. We'll take that journey into unenlightenment together.
Maybe some of the later ones do. I'm not sure, but yeah, this
I
one it's
would
it's
bet not. I
it's
just a wild guess.
yeah, it's just this one's very entrenched in Judeo Christianism 101, right? Like it's
Mhm.
just like you're thinking, okay, this guy's supposed to be Saint Peter. Hey, ain't you Saint Peter? It's just like
Mm.
it's written on the sleeve of this episode. So it's the
Yeah.
rural version of it all. It's not the clouds and the pearly gates. It's just like some rough
Well,
hewn wood and a checkpoint.
what's the whole idea of this is that you get your own private heaven, and the
But
guy who
no,
they tried to have trick you was a fast talking city slicker, which makes me think that maybe the second test was the real test, and he's in hell.
okay. So you like that? So let's
I
talk
can't
about
stop. I'm sorry.
what he deserves. Does he deserve to be in heaven or hell?
Ah, I'll say heaven. He seems all right enough. I don't think killing raccoons should send you to hell. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay. There's heaven. There's hell. It's
Okay.
Vangelis. Vangelis is heaven and
Oh,
hell.
nice.
Okay.
I think that he would take one look at Vangelis's discography and he would send himself to Vangelis's hell.
Hey, it would be a cool episode if they, instead of him going out raccoon hunting, if they had to pun a later episode, if they had a piano in the house, and this first scene is just as it is, right? They get a
Hmm.
knock on the door, and there's Liberace, and Liberace comes in and starts playing piano for them, and they're like, "Oh, what's happening?" Ah! That would have made this one of the best episodes. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. You put Liberace in almost any Twilight Zone episode and make it better.
I don't think he does appear in the Twilight Zone. That's too bad. That's
Yeah.
that's civilization's fault. I call civilization out on that. So Western civilization, whatever.
Was he never? I mean, he had to have been on like Fantasy Island or something, right?
Oh yeah, the Love Boat, something like that. I'm sure.
It's
Um,
Fantasy Island kind of.
the
I know it's not.
Oscars. He has some great spots on the Oscars.
I'm just saying. I'm trying to draw a parallel between something else and the Twilight Zone. I do think that Fantasy Island is sort of a descendant of this.
Yeah. Okay. Is that what we're gonna follow up the Twilight Zone with? Straight to Fantasy Island.
I think that would be pretty cool.
I
You
think
probably
I.
get a bunch. I bet a bunch of the Star Trek guests would want to do Fantasy Island episodes, right?
Oh yeah, con every week.
For sure.
and Hervey as well. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, let's do it. I'm just gonna hijack your podcast and just hijack it and put a gun to your head and take you to Fantasy Island.
Matt's not even here anymore. He wanted to talk about Black Mirror or Tales from the Dark Side. No, it's Ricardo Montalban and Fantasy Island. And when we finish doing it, we're gonna do it again.
No, then it goes to Love Boat. We're like follow the trajectory of diminishing returns, and we're just gonna go straight from Fantasy Island to Love Boat, and then
Mm.
from Love Boat we go to
The
Knight
Bachelor.
Rider, I don't know. Sure, The Bachelor, yes. Liberace was barely in anything.
Really? I guess he didn't like to be a star of stage and well, stage, but not screen. What's he in? Are you like
Kind
looking a
of
wiki?
wild. Oh yeah, something called Hotel. He was in one episode of Kojak. A
Is he in any
couple other
Elvis movies?
things. I don't think so. He was
I,
in two episodes of Batman.
oh
Uh,
yes, that's the yes, definitely.
yeah. Two episodes of the Red Skeleton Hour.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. So he was just busy in Vegas doing residencies, I guess.
yeah, yeah. It's wild that he's such a household name, but none of us really saw him appear in things as much as we feel like we did.
I
Maybe he
mean,
was
I'm
in like 300 million episodes of Hollywood Squares,
well,
or
it's like I
something
went
like
into
that.
that phase whenever I thought of Jim Morrison, I'd see Val Kilmer. Now I see Jim Morrison again, but if I think of Liberace, I still think of Michael Douglas,
Oh wait, okay, no, never mind. I
behind the
was only looking at
candelabra.
him acting. There's a separate thing on IMDb for actor and for self.
Right, but we were really
And
getting at the acting. We wanted him in the
I
Twilight
know I
Zone.
was, yeah,
Batman's
him
good.
playing
Batman's
other. Okay, sorry, him playing other characters. There are 14 credits. Him playing
okay.
himself, 120 credits.
Okay, Batman's a consolation prize. I want to see him. I want to see him playing for this backwood couple. He
Yeah,
comes in full. He brings the candelabra, right? I mean,
yeah,
he'll
for
just put it
sure,
on the. He'll
of
just put it
course.
on their tic tac piano, and he won't be happy about the piano. It won't be a grand, but you take what you can get. That house definitely does not have a grand piano.
He'll be fine. Heaven will provide him with unlimited pianos.
Right. Okay. Tripometer. Where do you want to put this on the tripometer?
Oh, oh, ouch. I'm gonna say this one's like a point 0.9.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was definitely thinking low end. I was like, I
Yeah.
try and think of like elements I like that I find like kind of trippy. To so maybe I'll take your base score, but I did find the checkpoint, be reasonably trippy because it's like the St. Peter's
Yeah.
thing, but it's this Boy Scout jamboree sort of setup. So
But
that
this
that
also could have been at the very end, at the end of everything that we see, somebody could be like, jump out and say, surprise, we tricked you. It's your birthday party. And
yeah,
everything in the episode would make perfect sense. Right.
yeah, I guess.
Which we
And
didn't see anything really. We didn't see. I gave it a point 0.9 because there are trippy concepts at play, but there's
how about Michael Douglas's The Game where that does happen
so you think Michael Douglas should show up at the end and say that he lost the game?
as Liberace? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. I
I
was
bet.
anyway. I thought that was enough for me to give it like a 2. I think for me, I like like it's once it goes under a 2, I'm like, why isn't this have more to it? Which I guess
Yeah.
2 is like my baseline. Like, okay, I watched an episode of the Twilight Zone, I guess, but
Yeah.
that's about all that's going on here.
I don't know how you feel about it, but I think the tripometer is a very personal thing and that everyone's going to it's not really trippy if you're not using however you see it through your own experience.
Exactly. That's a meta of the tripometer, right? That it
Hmm.
depends on everyone's different perspectives, which makes it trippier.
Like I
So
know there are people who take psychedelics and just don't see anything.
it's spelled with a Y,
Psychedelics?
No, tripometer.
TRYP?
That's right.
Okay, good. So
Okay.
it's the level of tryptophan. I think he had a lot of tryptophan. He probably
Yeah.
ate a raccoon. Actually, no, the raccoon actually. Oh, I didn't go into
The
this.
raccoon ate him.
Raccoon won. The raccoon killed them.
Yeah.
Raccoon was victorious.
That's kind of trippy. Okay. So yeah, a
That
raccoon
was
just
the
off
hunt.
the dude and his dog. So okay. That is the hunt. The raccoon won the hunt. Interesting.
Yes,
Because I
the
was
raccoon wins
coming
the
out
hunt.
kind of wondering, is that the right title? But you've just convinced me it is the right title if we consider the raccoon. So
I think the hunt. It's actually a pretty cool because you think about it a lot, and then you realize that he's being hunted by Satan,
Satan, yeah.
and after he just wants to go to heaven to hunt raccoons because that's the only place you can hunt raccoons. You cannot hunt them in hell.
You can't hunt raccoons in America anymore. Where do I gotta go to do it? Heaven?
Yeah, that's it.
But heaven is a place where nothing ever happens.
Uh, which is why he actually went to hell.
Sorry, I have too much talking heads on the mind today. That was in my notes, by the way. So even though I started off this episode with a talking heads reference, like there was already one of my notes I had forgotten about. So
I bought Chris France's book like a year ago and I still haven't read it.
okay. I that exact same note I remember was in the Pip episode or whatever. No, the good play. What's the one with the dude that ends up in like
A
gangster land,
nice
but he
place
keeps
to
winning?
live.
The nice place to visit. Yeah,
A nice place to visit.
that I know that had the same Talking Heads reference in the notes. So
Yeah, God, how many episodes have we done together that's about somebody dying,
lots of people die in the
being
Twilight
dead?
Zone. Yeah,
Just somebody being dead and
it's got
and
a
then
high
not knowing they're
mortality
dead.
rate.
Yeah, how
Hey,
many? We've done at
we're
least 4 episodes where someone doesn't realize they're dead in the episode.
we're evolving. It's not like season one where like everyone like the real actors and stuff had horrible fates, you know? Like now it's just like the people in the episode. I think.
Yeah, did you look up if these people did anything?
I haven't had like a was it gig gig young experience or Taylor, I forget what the dude in walking distance, which it's like
Yeah,
his life
I
ended with a
didn't.
murder suicide with him doing the
Yeah,
murder
the
part.
murder guy, this murder suicide guy.
The murder guy of the murder suicide, yeah. So and then there was the dude in the Mighty Casey that like off the dude. So
Yeah.
yeah, season
Well,
one had all that. I haven't come across anyone particularly like whoa since that, I think.
okay, but I'm looking at
Were you
but I'm
looking at
looking
how
at
all
Earl
these people
Hamner, who
died?
wrote this episode.
Yeah.
He had a collection of 50 bonsai trees.
Okay, that's not really a particularly weird fate. I mean, it's a hobby. It's a pretty intense hobby for sure, but I mean, it's not a murder suicide. Is all I'm saying.
Do you think that he died when he died in 2016 that he went to heaven with 50 bonsai trees and they're like, "No, you're going to have to send those to tree heaven."
Yes, that wouldn't have worked here though because there were trees beyond the checkpoint already. So,
Oh boy, so this is just the beginning of his run, huh?
I think we might have had one already. I to be honest, I don't remember. I think we've
I
done
have
one or
IMDb in
two.
front of me, and IMDb is like the word of God.
Okay, it says this is the
And
first one.
yeah, it's his first
Okay,
one.
I guess it's his first
Second
one.
one's coming up soon.
What's that?
That will be a piano in the house.
Oh, okay, that's coming up soon. We'll see how that goes down. Yeah.
And one
So,
in 4 and several in 5. He wrote Ring a Ding Girl. All right.
um. Anyway, this is Time Enough Podcast. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook under at name. You can support us on Patreon at Podcastio Podcastius. You'll hear episodes of this early with some extra chit chatter. Mark and I and our third co-host Luke do Films and Filth, where we treat IMDb as the word of God, looking at the best and the worst movies, the heaven and hell, if you will, on IMDb as arbitrarily voted by IMDb users.
Yeah, Luke's really happy about that too.
Occult Disney, where we look at the magic behind the mice and in his entrails as we try to necromance and tell the future. Um, then there's some video game stuff with Luke Loves Pokemon, Hyrule Field Report about the Zelda games, and the game show where gamers game each other to live the game, as in the rapper the game.
All right. Remember, when you die, just don't go anywhere. Don't trust any of these guys.
Play with your
Just
dog
keep
for a
walking.
while.
Keep walking. Hang out with your dog. He'll appreciate it.
They already did that in that Civil War episode where I kept walking.
Yeah. What was that called? Keep walking, man.
The
Keep on
passersby.
walking,
I got
the
it.
passersby.
Okay.
I was close.
All right. I was about to pick up my paper because I really couldn't remember. Okay. Laters, y'all.
Bye.